What's up, everybody? Welcome to Jumpwave. Today, we're going to be doing a cover of Situation by Yazoo on the Korg Volca Sample 2 using only the factory samples. This song is in the key of C sharp major and has a tempo of 120 beats per minute. Let's go ahead and set our tempo on the Volca. First thing we're going to do is clear our pattern by holding down Function and selecting Step 16, All. Now, let's set up our samples. On part 1, we're going to have sample 000, kick thick. On part 2, we're going to have sample 24, snare thick. On part 3, we're going to have sample 68, tom synth low. And on parts 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we're going to have sample 127, bass unison synth. And on part 10, we're going to have sample 62. Now that we have our samples set up, let's begin programming our pattern. We're going to start with the kick drum pattern on part 1. So let's go to step mode, and we're going to put a kick on steps 1, 5, 9, and 13. Next, let's move over to part 2, and we're going to add a snare hit on steps 5 and 13. Now move over to part 3, and we're going to add toms on steps 8, 10, 11, and 13. Cool. Now, let's mute part 3 because we don't want it to play every measure. So we'll do this by holding down the mute button and selecting part 3 to turn it off. Now we don't hear it. If we want to turn it back on, we do the same thing. Hold down mute, and then we just select that part and it turns it back on. So this is going to be important for performing the song in full once we've finished programming. So just remember, mute and unmute. So now that our drums are done, let's begin programming our bass line. Let's move over to part 4, and we're going to put bass notes on steps 1, 5, 8, 10, 11, 13, and 15. And if we press play, we're going to hear that the sample is only playing one note throughout, and we don't want that. We want different notes to play. So we're going to have to change the note values per step. To do this, we press and hold our finger down on a step, and while continuing to hold, we press and hold down the function button. Then we can take our finger off the step, and now we'll see that that step is blinking. And that means basically that any changes we make to these knobs here, these clear knobs, they're going to be programmed in to that specific step. But the only knob that we want to move is the speed knob. And by changing the speed knob, we can change the note values of that specific step. So these note values are chromatic, meaning that each value is one semitone. So our sample is tuned to a C. So if we hold down the step and then hold down function, if we turn this knob here, each note value is going to be one semitone. Okay, so C is basically 0. So if we go up 1, that's going to be C sharp. 2 would be D. 3 would be D sharp. And we can go all the way up to 24 note values up. Now this also goes into the negative. So you can go -1, that would be B. -2 would be B flat, A sharp. 3 would be A, so on and so forth. It goes all the way down to -24. So basically a 4-octave range here. So it goes 2 octaves in the positive, 2 octaves in the negative. But with a little trick, you can squeeze some extra notes out, and we'll have more on that in a second. But now that we understand how to change the note values, we can work on our bass line. So steps 1 and 5 are going to be C sharp. So we can hold down more than one step at a time. So let's hold down steps 1 and 5, and then hold down function. And now we see steps 1 and 5 are both blinking together. And we can turn the speed knob now because we want a C sharp, but we want it kind of low because it's a bass. So we're going to go into the negative here. We're going to go -11. And that's going to give us a C sharp for those steps. Now steps 8, 10, and 11 are going to be a B. So we want a low B, so we're going to go negative 13. And step 13 is also going to be a B, but we're going to go up an octave, so that's only going to be a negative 1. And then last, step 15, we're going to have one more B, also negative 13. So this is another low B. So now let's listen to our programmed bass line here. So we can hear it's not playing just a C note. Now it's playing all those C sharps and Bs and stuff that we programmed in there. Let's tighten it up a little bit though. Let's turn the decay down. We want a much shorter, punchier bass. So I set the decay at about 40, and I turned the start up to about 10 too. That just makes it just have a much sharper attack. All right, cool. So now that our rhythm section is done, let's begin working on our melodic parts. So parts 5 and 6 are going to be that catchy lead line that starts the song and comes in after the choruses. So starting on part 5, we're going to turn on steps 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And we're going to have to change the note values here just like we did for our bass. So steps 1, 3, and 7. 1, 3, and 7 are going to be C sharp positive 13. Trying to remember to do this with my left hand so I don't cover up the screen. I know that's some feedback that I've gotten in a couple of the videos. Is, hey, don't cover up the screen. I'm trying, y'all. It's hard to remember sometimes. But anyways, step 5. So steps 1, 3, and 7, those were C sharp positive 13. So step 5 now is going to be a C sharp also, but we need to go a little bit higher than our note values will allow. So if we go up to positive 24 on this, that's only going to give us a C note. We want a C sharp though, but we can't turn it to 25. That would be great if we could, but we can't. But we can squeeze a few more semitones out of this sample by adjusting the envelope generator intensity of the pitch section. So if we turn that all the way up to 24, and then we set the intensity here at 6, that's going to give us a C sharp. Now, steps 8, 10, and 12. So we're going to go 8, 10, and 12 are going to be a B positive 11. Positive 11 there. And steps 13 and 15 are going to be B positive 23. And step 14 is going to be a G sharp positive 20. And step 16 is going to be another one of those high C sharps that are off the grid here. So turn that all the way up to 24 and then bump the intensity of the pitch up there at to 6. All right, so let's listen to our program synth line now. So one more thing we want to do here, just want to tighten up this sample a little bit, turn the decay up to about 30. And then just like with the bass, we want to turn that start time up a little bit. Just to make that sample have a little bit more attack. And then last, so we've set the decay of the whole part at 30, but we want to make the decay a little bit longer just for step 5, just to accent step 5 a little bit. So we're going to turn just step 5, the decay, up to about 50. And notice I didn't hold down function for that one. I just pressed the step and turned the knob. And you can actually do that for all of these. You don't need to hold down function. You can just hold down the step and turn these knobs, and that will program those changes into that step. The function is just specifically for 2 parameters, I believe. One of them is the note value change, and the other one is the start time of the sample. So by holding down a step and function and turning the start point knob, it doesn't adjust the start point of the sample. It adjusts the start playback time. So you can actually delay the playback time of a sample, basically kind of putting it off grid a little bit by holding down function in that. So if you just hold down the step and turn the start point, it's just going to change the start point. But if you hold down that and function, it will change like the start time of the sample, which I haven't got around to playing around with that in any of these videos yet, but I hope to one day. But just FYI, there's, you don't have to hold down function for any of these parameter changes. If I haven't been clear about that before, but it's just for the note value change, which we use a lot. All right, cool. So let's move over to part 6 now. And part 6 is almost the same as part 5, with the exception of the last few steps. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to turn on steps 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And steps 1, 3, and 7, 1, 3, and 7 are going to be C sharp positive 13. And step 5 is going to be that high C sharp positive 24, and then adjusting the envelope intensity of the pitch to 6. Steps 8, 10, and 12 sorry, got big fingers. 8, 10, and 12 are going to be B positive 11. And step 13 is going to be E, but it's also going to be off our scale. So this is going to be a super high E. So we're going to turn our note value all the way up to 24. And to get an E, I had to play around with this and use a tuner to figure it out. But basically, if you set the note value at 24 and the envelope intensity of the pitch to 21, you get an E note. So there you go. Speed, pitch value at 24, and then adjust the envelope intensity to 21, and that'll give you an E note. And step 14 is going to be an high E flat now. So again, we're going to turn the note value all the way to 24, and an E flat, you can get that by adjusting the envelope intensity of the pitch to 16. And step 15 is going to be a B positive 23. And step 16 is going to be another one of those high C sharps off the chart. So 24 on the note value and then 6 on the envelope intensity of the pitch. All right, so let's mute part 5 now and listen to part 6. So let's tighten it up a little bit. I'm gonna turn that decay down to about 30. And then turn that attack up to 10. And same thing, step 5, we want to make the decay a little bit longer just for that step. So just hold it down and turn that one up to about 50. All right, cool. So to get the full synth line here, you basically have to mute and unmute part 5 and 6. So if we turn on part 5 here, so that's basically how we're going to play this track here, is by muting and unmuting these parts. So moving on to the other synth parts, there's like this call and response horn thing that happens in the verses, and it kind of carries over into the chorus. So parts 7, 8, and 9 are going to be that. So on part 7, we're going to turn on steps 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, and 14. And steps 1 and 3 are going to be C sharp, positive 13. And steps 5 and 7 are going to be E positive 16. Steps 9 and 11 are going to be F sharp positive 18. And step 12 is going to be G sharp positive 20. Step 14 is going to be that high C sharp again that's off the grid. So 24 on the note value and then 6 on the envelope intensity of the pitch. Cool. So let's turn off part 6 now and let's listen to our little horn part. Cool, sounds good. Let's move over to part 8 now. And we're going to turn on steps 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, and 14. Steps 1, 3, and 7. So 1, 3, and 7 are going to be C sharp positive 13. And step 5 is going to be E positive 16. Step 9 is going to be G sharp positive 20. Step 11 is going to be F sharp positive 18. Step 12 is going to be E positive 16. And step 14 is going to be C sharp positive 13. So let's mute part 7 and listen to part 8 now. So this is like another 2-part piece here. So if you play 7 and 8 together, so in the song there's she sings that line, you know, blue-eyed dress for every situation, and in the doorway of the nation. Yeah, so it's like a call and response thing. So she sings a line, and then the horn part plays, and then she sings another line, and then there's the second horn part, so that's part 8. Cool. So moving over to part 9 now. This is going to be basically the second part of our chorus line. So the chorus horn part is essentially part 7 repeated 3 bars, and then part 9 on the 4th bar. So in the original recording, it's a little bit different. There's a little bit more variation to the horns. They kind of like let them sustain a little bit longer in the chorus part, but we're running out of parts, man. So we're just gonna make do with what we got here. So we're gonna reuse part 7 for our chorus. So part 9, like I said, is basically that 4th bar of the chorus. So we're going to turn on steps 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 11, 13, and 14. And steps 1, 3, and 7 are going to be D sharp positive 15. Step 5 is going to be F sharp positive 18. Sorry, I'm trying to remember which hand to use. Bear with me, y'all. All right. And steps 8, 11, and 14. So 8, 11, and 14 are going to be G sharp positive 20. And like our part 7, step 13 is going to be that high C sharp with the note value at 24 and the envelope intensity of the pitch at 6. So let's mute our other parts. We're going to mute it here and let's listen. So if you play it all together, it's 7 3 times and then 9 on the 4th bar. And then it comes out of the chorus and it goes back to that original synth line. So the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to add a reverse cymbal on step 9 of part 10. And we can reverse a sample by holding down function and selecting reverse. And then we just basically select the part that we want to be reversed. So we're going to reverse part 10, take our finger off. And now when we play it, just turn the volume down a little bit. Now we got a reverse cymbal, and that's just going to be like a little transition thing that we do throughout the song. All right, so we're done programming our parts. So let's save our work by holding down function and hitting memory. And while continuing to hold down, we can save it now on any of these slots here. We're going to save it on memory 1. Just take our finger off now, and it's saved. So we can turn our vocal off, turn it back on, and we'll still have all of our work saved onto memory 1. Typically when I do these videos, we'll fill up all of our memory slots by saving each section as a different pattern. And we could do that for this one. However, I think this is just a fun song to jam with. So we're just going to work with the one memory we got saved here. We're just going to do all the changes by muting and unmuting the different parts. Like I said, it's just fun to jam and play around with. So listen to the original recording to get a feel for when all the changes happen and just have fun with it. And that's Situation by Yazoo on the Korg Volca Sample 2 using only the factory samples. Let me know in the comments what you thought. What did I miss? What samples would you have used instead? And what other songs would you like to hear me cover on the Volca Sample too? If you like this video, and if you dig what I'm doing on this channel, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.